Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the noise to bring you the essential insights you need to truly understand complex topics.
hmm
Today, we're taking a deep dive into something absolutely foundational, yet often something we only think about when it's, well, already too late. Emergency preparedness and response.
Exactly. It's one of those background things until it's very much foreground.
Right. And this isn't just a niche topic for safety professionals.
Yeah.
Understanding these principles is kind of a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about how our communities, our workplaces, even our own households stay safe when the unexpected and often unthinkable happens.
It really is.
Get ready for some crucial insights, surprising realities, and perhaps a new way to look at the world around you. Let's really unpack this. We're pulling back the curtain on the comprehensive, often unseen architecture of emergency management.
And it truly is an architecture. What's fascinating here is how structured thinking, meticulous planning, and clear hierarchies aren't just, bureaucratic necessities. They are the fundamental difference between chaos and control, between significant loss and effective recovery.
So structure equals less chaos. Makes sense.
Pretty much. Today, you'll gain a foundational understanding of the strategic layers involved in planning for, responding to, and recovering from emergencies, all drawn from key industry documents and best practices. This isn't just theoretical knowledge, it's a practical lens through which to view the robust frameworks that quietly protect us every single day.
Absolutely. And to truly understand these frameworks, we need to start with some core definitions, because clarity here is, well, everything. Have you ever wondered about the precise distinction between an emergency and a disaster?
People use them interchangeably all the time.
But they do. But in the world of preparedness, there's a distinct difference that profoundly shapes how we plan and allocate resources. According to our sources, an emergency is a sudden, unexpected event that disrupts the normal functions of an organization or community and demands immediate but localized action.
Localized being the key word there.
Right. Think of it as a significant, unexpected disruption that can, generally, be managed within existing local capabilities.
That's a critical distinction. A disaster, then, is essentially an emergency that has escalated beyond those local capabilities. It's defined as an emergency that results in multiple injuries or deaths, significant property damage or both, overwhelming local resources, and requiring external assistance.
Okay, so it's about capacity.
Exactly. So while every disaster begins as an emergency, not every emergency escalates into a disaster. This precise terminology isn't just semantic. It's crucial for triggering the correct level of response, resource allocation, and even legal declarations.
Right, because mislabeling could mean, what, delay?
It can lead to delayed aid or an inadequate response, absolutely. For instance, a power outage in a single neighborhood is an emergency. But a regional blackout affecting millions and impacting critical infrastructure for days, that quickly becomes a disaster.
That immediately clarifies so much. It makes perfect sense that you wouldn't deploy federal resources for, a small contained incident. But it also highlights the challenge.
Yeah.
How do you prevent an emergency from becoming a disaster?
That's the million-dollar question in planning.
Now, when we talk about the types of emergencies we need to prepare for, the spectrum is incredibly broad, revealing the sheer complexity communities and organizations face.
Indeed. Our sources categorize these into several key areas, and it's important to understand this diversity because each type presents unique planning challenges. We're talking about natural emergencies like floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes. Each requires distinct preparations.
Totally different responses needed for each of those.
Completely. For a hurricane, for example, planning isn't just about battening down the hatches. It's about predicting storm surge, managing large-scale evacuations, and preparing for widespread power outages and potential long-term infrastructure damage. It's huge.
Okay, so natural events. What else?
Then there's fire and explosion, which, while deeply covered in other safety areas, are critical emergencies in their own right, demanding rapid, coordinated responses.
That's already a huge range.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond natural events and immediate physical threats, right? It's not just fire and flood.
Absolutely. Beyond those, we have system failures, which can range from something like a boiler overheating or pressure control failures within an industrial facility to chemical releases, cyber attacks that cripple essential services, or widespread power outages.
Well, cyber attacks too. That adds a whole layer.
It does. Consider a chemical release. Planning for that involves sophisticated plume modeling, determining evacuation zones, and preparing for very specific decontamination procedures, which is entirely different from, say, a flood response.
Right. And traffic. Is that really an emergency category?
Traffic problems are also a significant concern, particularly accidents involving vehicles carrying hazardous materials. Think about a truck crash on a highway spilling chemicals. That can quickly turn a routine incident into a multi-agency, high-stakes emergency.
Okay, I see that. Hazmat incidents.
Mhm.
And finally, there's the human element.
Precisely. The last category stems from the behavior of people. This includes civil disturbances like riots or strikes, acts of sabotage against infrastructure, and of course, terrorist acts. The text even cites the World Trade Center events of September 11th, 2001 as a poignant, devastating example of a human-caused disaster,
Mm.
demonstrating how malicious intent introduces an entirely different layer of unpredictable variables into emergency planning.
The sheer variety of potential disruptions highlights why robust, comprehensive, and flexible planning is so incredibly essential.
Flexible is key.
It's not just about one type of threat, but a whole universe of possibilities that need to be anticipated and mitigated. So, once an emergency or, God forbid, a full-blown disaster strikes, what does this all mean for those on the ground? When chaos hits, how do responders know what to do first and what not to do?
Yeah, that's critical.
Our sources lay out a critical hierarchy of priorities in an emergency, a framework that dictates the order of response actions. So what does this all mean when chaos hits? It means following a clear, established order.
This hierarchy is absolutely crucial, and it's consistently highlighted as a key concept in emergency management because it provides a clear, sequential guide to maximize effectiveness and minimize harm. The primary and overriding priority is always the safety of people.
Always number one.
Always. This means evacuating individuals from dangerous areas, providing immediate care for the injured, often referred to as triage, and actively working to prevent any additional casualties by securing the scene. Until human life and safety are addressed, literally nothing else takes precedence.
That's intuitively correct, and you'd think it would be obvious. But I can imagine in highly valuable industrial settings, maybe a factory or something, there must be a tremendous internal tension with protecting property. How do organizations truly embed safety of people as the overriding priority in those high-stakes scenarios?
That's a brilliant point, and it's where robust training and a strong safety culture are really tested. Organizations embed this by consistently reinforcing it in drills, through leadership messaging, and by designing systems that fail safely if possible.
So it has to come from the top.
Definitely. The financial cost of property damage is almost always secondary to the unquantifiable cost of human life and injury, and effective emergency plans reflect this by mandating personnel evacuation over property salvage in the initial phase. It requires a firm, non-negotiable commitment.
Okay. So people first. That's clear.
Once human safety is addressed, the focus then shifts to the second priority, the protection of property. This involves actions aimed at minimizing damage to physical assets. Think about shutting down utilities to prevent further damage, controlling fires before they spread further, and securing facilities to prevent additional loss or environmental impact.
Like containing the damage.
Exactly. This step is about preserving critical infrastructure and assets for future recovery.
Okay, so people. Then property. That's a logical sequence. What's next in the order of operations? After the immediate danger is dealt with.
Third in line is cleanup and salvage. This step involves the safe removal of hazardous materials, if present, and the recovery of damaged assets. This happens only after the immediate dangers to people and property are controlled and the scene is stabilized.
You can't rush this part.
No, this isn't just about tidying up. It's about methodically assessing damage, mitigating long-term risks, and carefully documenting everything for investigation and insurance. The danger here, and a common temptation for organizations, is to rush this phase or even try to skip it, often out of a desire to return to normalcy too quickly.
And what happens if you rush the cleanup or skip crucial steps there? What are the risks?
Well, rushing cleanup can lead to secondary incidents, maybe exposure to hidden hazards or improper disposal of materials, creating new environmental or health risks down the line. It can also compromise investigations into the cause of the emergency, hindering future prevention efforts.
Ah, right. Learning lessons for next time.
Exactly. It's a common trap where the urgency to resume operations overrides the necessary due diligence.
Okay, so don't skip cleanup. Then what?
And then finally, the fourth and final priority is the restoration of operations. This is the step where the organization or community safely and efficiently works to return to normal business operations. It's about getting things back to a functional state, but only after all the preceding priorities have been thoroughly addressed.
People, property, cleanup, then back to normal.
That's the sequence. This hierarchy is not flexible. It dictates the order of response actions to maximize effectiveness and minimize harm, ensuring a structured approach even in the most chaotic circumstances.
Think of it like building a house. You absolutely have to pour the foundation and erect the frame before you start hanging the drywall. This four-step hierarchy is the bedrock for any effective emergency response. It's fundamental.
Couldn't have said it better.
It's a fundamental principle that guides all actions when time is of the essence, preventing rash decisions that could worsen a crisis. Now, moving from reaction to proactive preparation, we need to talk about the blueprint. Emergency preparedness and planning. This isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a deeply regulated, heavily tested area for safety professionals. But it's crucial knowledge for all of us, because it underpins community safety in ways we often don't see.
Exactly. When we delve into proactive measures, several key regulations and programs come into play, forming the backbone of U.S. emergency planning. A cornerstone of this legislation, really born out of lessons learned from major industrial incidents like the Bhopal disaster in India.
Right. Bhopal was a huge catalyst.
It was. That led to SARA Title III, also known as the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act of 1986, or EPCRA for short. This act was revolutionary, requiring facilities handling hazardous chemicals to develop comprehensive emergency response plans.
So it forced companies to plan.
It did. And crucially, it mandated the creation of state emergency response commissions, SERCs, and local emergency planning committees, LEPCs. These committees are the central hubs where local plans are developed, integrated, and exercised, ensuring everyone from emergency services to industrial sites understands their specific role in a broader, coordinated response.
So local groups making local plans. Makes sense.
And it requires facilities to provide safety data sheets, or SDSS, which many might remember as MSDSS, to state and local officials, ensuring that vital information about hazardous materials is readily available to first responders.
The SDS sheets. Okay. So, Sarah, Title III really pushed for unprecedented information sharing and local coordination, empowering communities.
Precisely. Beyond SARA Title III, there's the Chemical Emergency Preparedness Program, CEPP, an EPA initiative established in response to SARA to aid communities in preparing for chemical emergencies, providing technical guidance and training.
So EPA helping out.
And the Community Awareness and Emergency Response CAER program is an industry initiative, often led by chemical companies, designed to proactively improve community-level preparedness through collaboration. So industry stepping up too.
That's good to hear. Industry taking initiative.
It's also worth noting that preparedness for radiological accidents is another area with its own stringent regulations, managed by multiple agencies, including FEMA, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, NRC, and the EPA, highlighting the multifaceted and specialized nature of emergency management depending on the hazard.
Right. Radiation needs very specific handling. With those regulations setting the stage, the big question then becomes, what does a truly robust plan actually contain? What are the practical, tangible components that make up an effective emergency response plan, or ERP, and where do organizations often stumble?
Okay, yeah, the nuts and bolts. An effective ERP is comprehensive and leaves little to chance. It starts with defined actions. Specific, clear, step-by-step instructions for what needs to be done.
Like literally, go here, do this.
Pretty much. Think about a multi-story office building without clearly defined evacuation routes, assembly points, and procedures for assisting those with mobility challenges. A simple fire drill becomes chaos, let alone a real emergency.
Sure.
Then, it meticulously defines the participants and roles, clearly assigning responsibilities to individuals and teams, such as fire brigades, first aid teams, or communication officers, so everyone knows exactly their part. Without this, you get too many cooks, or, worse, critical tasks are simply forgotten.
So it's not just having the right people, but making sure they know their job cold.
Exactly. Crucially, there must be established authority, a clear chain of command for both normal operations and emergency conditions to avoid confusion and ensure swift decision-making. Ambiguity in leadership during a crisis can paralyze a response.
You need someone clearly in charge.
Absolutely. Next, effective communication systems are vital, requiring a designated command center and reliable, redundant methods for managing information flow during an incident. Imagine trying to coordinate a response if cell towers are down or radios aren't working. These systems need to be battle-tested.
Redundancy is key there, I guess.
Definitely. The plan also needs to ensure ready access to critical data and information, like detailed site maps, those safety data sheets we mentioned, and emergency contact lists for employees, contractors, and external agencies.
That information is critical for responders coming in from outside, but also for identifying dangers on site.
Precisely. Of course, supplies and equipment are essential, adequate, and properly stored emergency supplies, including medical gear, personal protective equipment, and rescue equipment.
Right, you can't run out of bandages.
Exactly. It's not enough to have a first aid kit. It needs to be stocked, regularly inspected, and accessible, and you need emergency facilities, designated locations for emergency operations and medical treatment, ideally away from the immediate danger zone and resilient enough to function independently. These are often prearranged mutual aid agreements with other facilities.
Okay, mutual aid. That's smart. That's an extensive list of components. It sounds like a lot of meticulous work to create. How do you ensure such a detailed document actually works when the time comes? Because a plan on paper is one thing, but real-world execution is another.
That's where the final and arguably most critical component comes in: training and drills. Regular, realistic training, drills, and exercises are indispensable to ensure all participants are prepared to execute the plan effectively. A plan is only as good as its practice.
So practice, practice, practice.
Absolutely. Organizations often stumble here either by not conducting drills frequently enough or by making them too simplistic, not testing the true complexities of an incident. Effective drills aren't just about going through the motions, they're about learning, identifying weaknesses, and iteratively improving the plan based on real-world simulations.
So you find the holes before the real thing happens.
That exactly. They help ingrain the defined actions and roles into muscle memory. This raises an important question. Given the sheer variety of potential threats we talked about and the complexities of our environments, how do we even know what to plan for in the first place? Where do you start?
Good question. How do you prioritize?
The answer lies in hazard analysis. This is a systematic process of identifying all potential emergency scenarios an organization or community might face, and then evaluating their likely consequences. It's truly the foundational step in effective planning.
So it's about systematically anticipating what could go wrong, both internally from within an operation and externally from the environment, like nearby factories or weather.
Precisely. This analysis should meticulously consider both on-site hazards like internal equipment failures, chemical storage, or process excursions, and off-site hazards, an incident at a neighboring facility, a severe weather event, or even a local transportation accident involving hazardous materials could certainly impact you.
Right. You're not an island.
Exactly. It also needs to look at the potential for system failures, not just human error. A key output of hazard analysis is the ranking of risks. This allows planners to prioritize their efforts, focusing resources on the most probable or most impactful scenarios first, rather than trying to plan for every single remote possibility. You focus where it matters most.
Okay, risk assessment, basically.
Yes. And what's particularly insightful from our sources is the increasing use of computer models to simulate events, like chemical releases or evacuation flows. This allows organizations to refine their plans, test different strategies, and even design facilities more safely, all without putting anyone at risk in the real world.
That's incredibly smart, using technology to predict and prepare, giving a real edge in readiness. So if an organization or community is embarking on building or refining their emergency plan, where do they go for robust, credible help and guidance? Are there specific agencies or professional groups they can turn to for support? Who helps with this?
Absolutely. There are several key resources available for emergency planning. At the national level, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is a primary resource. FEMA provides comprehensive guidance, support, and coordination for both natural and human-caused disasters. They offer training, funding, and a national framework.
Okay, FEMA's the big one.
Yes. For incidents involving hazardous materials, a critical and immediate resource is Chemtrec, the Chemical Transportation Emergency Center. This 247 hotline provides immediate information and assistance to emergency responders dealing with hazardous material incidents anywhere in North America.
Oh, wow, 247, that's crucial.
It really is. They connect responders directly with chemical experts and shippers for real-time advice.
Okay, FEMA, Chemtrec.
Yeah.
Any others?
Beyond government agencies, various professional organizations offer invaluable guidance and standards. Groups like the American Chemistry Council and the Center for Chemical Process Safety, CCPS, provide industry-specific frameworks, best practices, and lessons learned. helping organizations bridge the gap between regulatory compliance and practical, effective application. They essentially codify decades of experience into actionable strategies.
So lots of help out there if you look for it. What an incredible journey we've taken today. We've moved from the core definitions that separate an emergency from a disaster to the critical priorities that guide action in the face of crisis.
That hierarchy is key.
We've explored the legislative frameworks that mandate preparedness, detailed the essential components of a truly robust emergency response plan, and finally, look at the crucial process of hazard analysis and the key resources available to help. You now have a deeper understanding of the complex, often unseen work that goes into keeping us all safe and resilient.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, this deep dive profoundly highlights that safety is never an accident. It's just not. It's the direct result of meticulous planning, unwavering commitment to clear priorities, and ongoing readiness through training and analysis.
Planning and practice.
Exactly. In a world awash with information, understanding these structured approaches allows you to better evaluate preparedness efforts around you. Whether it's your workplace, your local community, or even the broader national response to significant events, it empowers you to ask smarter questions.
It truly gives you a new lens through which to see the world, doesn't it? A new level of discernment. So consider how understanding these layers of preparedness might fundamentally change how you view everyday safety measures, or even your own community's readiness.
Yeah.
What small detail might you notice now? Perhaps a clearly marked evacuation route that seems more thoughtful, or the presence of an SDS blinder in a facility, or the subtle but critical messaging from local authorities during a weather alert that you wouldn't have truly appreciated before.
It makes you look differently.
It really does. Thank you for diving deep with us. We'll catch you on the next one.